And welcome back to Exiting the Huddle with Dan and Jacob. I am Dan.
And I'm Jacob.
And this is a beautiful September 15th on a Sunday after college football Saturday.
Week
Lots
three.
to
Week three.
Yeah, week 3. Lots to talk about today, folks. Lots to talk
Absolutely.
today about. So let's start it off with the top 25.
Yeah.
So we'll go with 25. Texas A&M makes an appearance.
Texas A&M is back in the top 25. I think they were in. No, they weren't in. No, they were in the beginning of the season, right?
I don't think they were.
I thought they were because they played Notre Dame.
Oh, you might be right.
I think
you might be right.
I think they're back.
I think they were 22.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So they're back in the top 25.
Back in the top 25.
A newcomer to the top 25. Illinois.
Illinois honestly looked really good against that KU team, which honestly has been kind of a disappointment in my eyes this season. But
Very lackluster.
But we'll get into that later.
Yeah. Number 23, Northern Illinois.
See, I like Northern Illinois there. I'm pretty high on Northern Illinois.
Number 22, Big Red.
Nebraska.
Number 21, Clemson.
Clemson, I honestly, I don't know if they belong in the top 25. They played good against Georgia for that first half, but then the rest of the season,
kind of like they just fell apart after that second half of the Georgia game. Number 20, Iowa State.
Iowa State, I like Iowa State there. I think they're a good, scrappy team. Number 19, we got Louisville. I'm okay with Louisville. 2-0.
Yeah, 2-0.
You know, nothing fancy.
No.
Number 18, we have Michigan down from 17. Another close game. They've not looked very good this year. Sorry, Michigan fans.
Yeah, sorry. Like I can't.
I just
you should have again won by 30.
I feel like in my biggest thing here with Michigan, I feel like they've lost their identity.
Yeah.
With especially with having Donovan Edwards, they've never been a big prolific passing team. They've always been run the ball into your teeth.
And here's the thing about that. So if you look back on it, last year in their national title run, they didn't have to pass the ball because they relied on Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards. I saw a statistic. Donovan Edwards' yards this year, I believe he has less than 100. Through 3 games. Less than 100 yards through 3 games.
Let me look at that real quick.
Yeah. Quote me if I'm wrong, but I believe the tally was 78. It might have been 78 before yesterday.
He has 150.
150
but
through 3
their
games.
backup running back has 270 yards. He had 153 yards against Arkansas State, which they were 21.5 points favorite, and they won by 10.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really that close.
I'll be honest with you. Probably for the rest of the season, don't pick Michigan to cover a spread.
I probably have them winning some of those close games,
but not covering the
but
spread.
But no, if it's a 20-point spread, I don't.
No.
But we'll see. I mean, this is still early. Yeah, number 17 going down from 18, or going up from 18. My bad. We got Notre Dame, who absolutely routed Purdue.
That was a ruffle stomp.
That was bad.
I expected Notre Dame to come out and win against Purdue. I didn't think that they'd come out and embarrass them.
It was bad.
It was bad.
But they kind of needed that. Maybe that shows that Northern Illinois is a lot better than we think.
Maybe that's the conversation for the group of 5 team that makes the 12 seed?
I got either them or Memphis right now.
Right now, it's Northern Illinois. A win over a top 5 team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Away? You were the away team?
Yeah.
Number 16, we got LSU. They're staying at 16. Kind of some controversy in that game.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now, those refs will probably be investigated on that roughing the passer call. Because in all my years of playing football, if a quarterback threw an interception and then is actively trying to go after the ball carrier.
Now, if he's just standing there,
Yeah, if he's standing there and he's not going after, he's unprotected. That's fine. But he was actively going after the kid who intercepted him, and at that point, you are fair game. You are actively trying to tackle that person.
you're now just another player.
And, yeah, you are now just another player on the field. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm surprised that South Carolina coach didn't have their asses. At number 15, we got Oklahoma. I'm okay.
I'm okay with that.
3-0.
Yep,
I'm okay.
I'm okay with that.
Oklahoma State, 3-0.
14. Yep, no, I'm
Okay.
okay with that.
Kansas State, 3-0. 13.
I honestly would have them a little higher, especially after routing.
Arizona, the way
Yeah,
they
they
did.
only went up one. Arizona dropped out.
Yeah, Arizona's gone out of the top 25.
I probably would have them maybe at 12 because Utah didn't look all that impressive against.
Oh, they lost Cam Rising again.
That worst luck ever.
I don't think an NFL team's going to draft him because of injury issues. Let's just
They
be honest.
might in like a really late round if I was an NFL team.
Would you pick him in the 6th or 7th?
Yeah. The talent, I mean, it's there. He just needs to not do whatever he's been doing, which it's been like taking out running with the ball. You know, that he's been doing that. Maybe try to develop into more of a pocket passer, like a Peyton Manning or Tom Brady.
Drew Brees?
Drew Brees that was a little faster, but not by much.
He didn't roll out of the pocket very often.
No, maybe he just needs to be in more of a pro-style offense, not a spread like Utah.
Yeah.
But
You put him under center or USC.
oh, he's gonna light up.
Yeah, he'll light up. Caleb Williams had no problems standing in the pocket. Yeah, he had to roll out when he had to roll
He rolled
out.
a lot.
He did. But look at how many times he rolled out and passed it versus how many times he rolled out and ran it. You know what I mean?
He just needs. I think Cam Rising just needs to be able to cover up for hits better.
Yeah.
Because he's like the last 3 years when he's been hurt, he's been taking huge shots. And I'm like, if you try to like not get hit like that, I think you'd be doing a lot better. Which brings us honestly number 12 Utah,
Yeah.
which they only
won by a few, folks.
they won 38-21 over Utah State. That should have been a fucking raffle stomp.
Yeah.
They haven't looked as good as I thought they were going to look going into the season so far, but we're still too early. A lot of this will change, guarantee it.
And then that brings us to number 11, USC.
Which we also kind of sort of talked about.
They were idle yesterday.
I'm okay with USC at 11.
I'm not.
You think they should be higher?
Oh yeah. I think they should be at least 8 through 10, somewhere in
8
there.
through 10. I'm okay with that too. 11. You're still in the college football playoff.
I understand that, but their performance against LSU and then the game after, that's enough for me. They're a top 10 team.
Well, we still got a lot of season left. But
And speaking of top 10, number 10,
Penn State dropped for 2 spots after. Well, they were idle, weren't they?
yeah, Penn State was idle, I believe.
Yeah, because they haven't played since Bowling Green, and they have not looked like Penn State of old this year, just right off the rip.
Exactly.
Speaking of a team that doesn't look like of old, number 9 we have Oregon, who
I'm gonna tell you this.
honestly,
what is it? Was it 48-14?
49-14.
49-14.
That felt more like Oregon.
That is a Dan Lanning offense right there.
That
49 points.
That felt like Oregon.
Yeah.
Boise State and Idaho, those games should not have been that close. I love Boise State, don't get me wrong.
100%.
But that should not have been that close.
And at number 8, Miami goes up 2 spots to 10.
I'm okay.
I am 100%.
I think they should be higher.
Probably.
After considering they've won 3 games. They beat Florida 41-17, beat Florida A&M 56-9, and mollywop Ball State 62-0. Now, none of these teams really scream powerhouses right off the rip.
But they're scoring points and they're holding opponents to. Well, the most points that has been scored against them this year is 14, right?
17. It was against
17.
Florida.
Yeah, Florida. But we'll talk about them later on the podcast. And then number 7.
Mizzou. Fuck Mizzou, first off. Hate Mizzou. Still, KU fan, I can't get out. I can't. I'm sorry. They blew out Murray State. They blew out and shut out Buffalo. And then their first real opponent, which sounds weird saying this out loud, Boston College,
Now
took them to the wire.
Now, you gave me shit all preseason about being on the Boston College hype train. I have been and will continue to be on that hype train for one reason.
Nick Castellanos.
Nope. Bill O'Brien.
That's solid, yeah.
He went into Boston College and said, we're going to play football my way. His way is succeeding.
Yep.
Had there been two more minutes left in that LSU game, we might be talking about Boston
Mizzou?
College.
Mizzou? You said LSU.
Oh, I'm sorry, in the Mizzou game. We'd be talking about Boston College winning that game.
I agree. At number 6, we have one spot down, or one spot up from last week. We have Tennessee.
I'm okay.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay.
The reason why I'm okay with that is have you seen their schedule?
Yeah. Honestly, 5 through 1, I'm okay with. I don't think there's any shifting that needs to be done, especially 1 week after what happened. You know, you got Ole Miss at 5, we got Alabama at 4. Maybe Alabama's a little high.
Like if you look at it, like so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams from the 6 teams from the SEC in the top 10. 1 team from the ACC and 3 teams from the Big Ten.
Yeah, I mean,
but you have to take consideration. Georgia plays Tennessee. I believe Georgia plays Mizzou too.
I think they do.
I'm going to open up their schedule right here. No, they don't. They do not. Georgia's next couple weeks is going to be a little.
They have a week off.
Yeah, they have a week off this week, upcoming Saturday on the 21st, and then on the 5th of October, or on the 28th of September, they have to go to Alabama.
To Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Yeah.
If anything, this is going to be a real gut check for one of these teams.
Yeah. Well, then you look at it. They have Auburn and Mississippi State at home. Then they go to Texas. Then they have Florida at home. Go at number 5 Ole Miss, and then number 6 Tennessee comes to town the next week.
Yeah, they got a tough schedule. I mean, honestly, 1 through 4, maybe 5, 1 through 5, you could probably put these in any order, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
I like Texas at 1. I really do.
They, from a standpoint right now, they have the biggest win of the year of any opponent. And I'm not taking it away from USC beating LSU. I'm not taking that away. But they went not at a neutral site.
They went to the big house.
They went to the big house and upset, and they only let Michigan score 12 points.
And then most of those were in the garbage time.
Texas deserves to be at number 1.
I like Georgia too. They really struggled against Kentucky. Maybe that means Kentucky's better than we thought they were. Maybe.
Well, like I said earlier, is Georgia as bad as we think they are, or is Kentucky as good as we think they are?
Honestly, I think Kentucky is maybe better than we thought they were.
They do have a top 8 defense.
They do, and they just really shut down Carson Beck and Etienne.
Trevor Etienne.
Was that it? Oh, yeah, because Travis plays his brother. He plays for the Jags.
Yeah.
Too many damn brothers in the league. Speaking of brothers in the league, I want to take a moment, and I want to wish a speedy and quick recovery to Tua Tagovailoa. He got rung. He got his bell rung again.
For the 13th time?
I don't think it's 13th. I know.
I think it's just about his 13th time. I think I saw an article about that.
I-
He's had a very, very hard time as an NFL quarterback.
I know he got. It wasn't last year, but it was the year before. Maybe it was last year, where he got hit really hard in one game, and then they put him back in the game, and I think he got hit again, and it made it worse. And then they said, "Oh, you've passed concussion protocol."
2 weeks later.
It wasn't even 2 weeks. It was like the next game. They said he was fine.
No, I thought they had a bye week.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, I think they had a bye week, and they put him in the next game, which was 2 weeks later.
And he got hit so hard that I remember watching that, and his hands were just like
Yeah, he
was throwing gang signs almost.
yeah, it was bad. I do want to wish him a speedy recovery.
I do like Tua.
Yeah, I do.
I don't. We don't wish harm on any players,
Absolutely. not.
college, professional, regardless. We don't. We want everybody to succeed, and this could be career ending for Tua if he doesn't bounce back. I really hope the Dolphins sit him out long enough so he's okay.
I think I read that Adam Schefter was reporting that he might be retiring.
I could see it.
I don't think. I think he's been rung too many times.
Well, at a certain point, you're at your
Your personal safety has to come first.
you make all this money. Yes, you can do all this X, Y, and Z, but once you get hurt enough, you're just putting your future in danger. And CTE is not a joke.
Yeah, it's not. But you have to think about this too. There's a life outside of playing football, I should say. You could be a quarterback's coach. You could be an offensive coordinator. You know, there's a life outside of playing football.
You could be a college coach.
You could be a college coach. You can go back to your alma mater and coach there.
Is that Alabama?
I think, yeah.
We just hope him a speedy recovery.
For
I
sure.
just feel like I needed to say something there.
Now, there's two things I want to talk about first
Okay.
before we move on to our next topic. Is Quinn Ewers out of a job?
I don't know. It's got to be close. Arch Manning came in and lit up. Who'd they play? Texas San Antonio.
UTSA. Yeah.
University of Texas San Antonio.
Comes in there, throws 4 touchdown passes, and runs for another one. At what point? Like, I understand. Like, that was like Ohio State a few years ago when you had.
How many teams do you know of have 2 potential number 1 overall picks on the same team behind each other? You could have. I could easily see Quinn Ewers if he played the rest of the season. He comes back, he's healthy, comes back, and goes number 1 overall. Because right now it's looking like it's probably going to be the Panthers again, and I don't think Bryce Young's their answer. I just don't. I don't like Bryce Young. I didn't like him at 1. I think C.J. Stroud should have went 1. But at the same time, I'm kind of happy that he didn't go number 1 overall and go die in the Panthers.
Carolina's becoming the place where careers go to die. It used to be the Raiders. Because you think about it,
They won today.
they did.
They beat the Ravens.
My Saints, they raffle stomped the Cowboys.
My Colts did not play well. I'm going to leave it there.
Fair enough. But I think Steve Sarkisian is in a good place for the next 6 years, especially if Quinn Ewers comes back as a senior. He's good for those 6 years.
But at the same time, that double-edged sword is if Quinn Ewers comes back, what's saying Arch Manning doesn't want to go and play for Ohio State or Alabama. He wouldn't go to Alabama, but like Ole Miss with Jackson Dart leaves. That's his uncle
Eli.
his uncle and his grandpa, and I believe his dad's alma mater.
Yeah.
The only one that
Yeah, it was like
Peyton
went to Tennessee.
Peyton went to Tennessee because they told him that he would have a better chance of starting right away. And if he went to Ole Miss, he wouldn't have that. It wasn't as good of a team. Because I'm pretty sure the year after Peyton Manning left, I'm pretty sure Tennessee won the national title. It was like 99 or something.
Yeah,
That sounds right.
sounds right. And then the second thing I want to talk about before we get into it, Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame.
What the fuck are you doing?
They don't know.
So, I want to know how you lose 16-14 to Northern Illinois and then come out and score 66.
They might have been playing
against
pissed
Purdue.
off.
I want to know what kind of fire Marcus Freeman lit underneath that team's ass to get them this motivated to score 66 at Purdue. Not at home. Not in South Bend.
And how far is Purdue from South Bend?
West Lafayette, Indiana? I don't know.
Like an hour?
No, it's West Lafayette's on the east side of the state. Usually 3-4 hours.
No, it's not terrible.
But I hats off to them. They came out and just absolutely wrecked Purdue.
It was bad.
And as a Big Ten guy, I feel bad. I feel bad. Maybe Purdue's just not that good this year.
I mean, when have they really been that good, though?
Drew Brees?
20 years ago?
25 years ago? So, looking at this, they scored 14 in the first, 28 in the second, 10 in the third, and 14 in the fourth.
It sounds like some college football 25 scoring.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm looking here at this Purdue schedule, and they don't have it easy next week. Oregon State, coming off of a gigantic loss, is going to be pissed off. The next week, they got Nebraska.
Dylan Raiola is basically the second coming of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Which is really funny because he's like, oh, what did he say? He modeled his career after... It wasn't Mahomes, it was somebody else. I can't remember who he said. It was like... I want to say he said like either Drew Brees or Tom Brady or somebody that wasn't how he's playing. And he's like a 1-to-1 copy of fucking Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Comes out the same, throws the ball the same. I'm like, that's Patrick Mahomes. They've cloned Patrick Mahomes and put him in Nebraska.
After the Nebraska game, they got Nebraska at home. Then Purdue goes to Wisconsin.
Camp Randall.
Then they go to Illinois.
Yeesh, that's a scary Illinois team right now.
Then they have Oregon at home. Then they have Northwestern at Ohio State.
That's a win.
Penn State at home.
Oof.
Michigan State.
Yeah.
And at Indiana.
I mean, honestly, normally I'd say that'd be a gimme for Indiana. Or not for Purdue, but Indiana is playing lights out this year.
Yeah. 77 points, folks. 77.
It was nuts. I saw that box score and I thought someone was fucking with me. I'm like, no way they scored 77. I'm like, oh, yeah, they scored 77 points.
Yeah. If you told me that Indiana would have scored 77 points total by the week of 8, I would have been impressed. But yeah, like
I think that kind of brings us into a segue here.
I think Billy Napier's on the hot seat, by the way.
I don't doubt it.
From Florida.
Oh, yeah.
After a blowout loss to Texas A&M, I think he's running out of time. and they're what, 1-3 now?
Well, it's week 3, so 1-2.
Or 1-2?
1-2 or 0-3. I can't remember which.
No, they've won one game. I think they won their very first game.
Nope, they lost their first game to Miami.
Or not their first game, their second game.
That means they're 1-2.
Yeah. So, who do you hire? Who goes down into the swamp to make it better?
Honestly,
Who goes to drain the swamp?
how another team's season is going, I think somebody might also be on the hot seat after the high expectations for this season and they're not performing well. And I don't want to put all of the blame on one player, but I want to put up most of the blame on one player. That's Jalen Daniels for KU. He's thrown 6 interceptions in 3 games. He threw 1 to Lindenwood, 3 at Illinois, and 2 against UNLV. Not great decision making. He's playing a little scared. I love KU. I love Jalen Daniels. As you guys may know, if you watch the podcast, you actually pay attention. I picked Jalen Daniels to win the Heisman in our preseason. I wouldn't even have him as a starter right now.
No.
I'd put Cole Ballard. Did you know Cole Ballard's dad has NFL ties?
Not.
Yeah, his dad's Chris Ballard, the GM for the Colts.
I did not know that.
Yeah, the KU's backup quarterback. His dad is a GM for the Colts.
So that's where he's going, is the Colts?
Probably.
Yeah.
That's where Jason Bean went.
Yeah.
And after he got cut, but he got drafted like number 1 overall in the UFL or whatever that is. Which, and I'm not saying Jalen Daniels can't get drafted, but the way he's playing right now, if he played how everybody thought he was going to play, he was going to be a first-round pick, hands down. Now he's lucky if he gets picked in the 6th or 7th round. I could see him being an undrafted free agent, which is sad. But if you watch him play, he's not making great decisions. He's playing scared almost. He's not. I don't want anybody to get hurt, but he's not playing as reckless as he has been. And I'm wondering if it's the past 2 seasons, kind of like a Cam Rising thing, to where he's afraid that next hit's going to be one that takes him out for the entire season. He's afraid that this next hit's going to end his career, and he won't get to go play in the NFL. But I think instead of worrying about that, I think you need to go out and play fucking football.
Yeah.
Because now you have Lance Leipold on the hot seat. But at the same time,
Is he though?
probably not. But if his butt's getting a little warm.
Hasn't he already won more games than all of his predecessors? The last 2?
Well, definitely the last 2. Not all of them, but
Well, not all of them, but the last 2 combined.
yeah.
Yeah.
In one season.
In one season. He's not on the hot seat.
He's there to rebuild that KU program, and he's doing his job very well. But wouldn't be shocked if, come the end of the season, Florida goes 3-9 or whatever, and they're just like, hey, we'll pay you a shit ton of money to come down here to Florida.
Or hear me out. Matt Rule.
Matt Rule makes a lot of sense, too. I'd probably...
Do you think that they can get him away from Nebraska?
It depends on how the season ends. If we're going up the mountain right now for Nebraska's season,
I have them undefeated until Ohio State.
I think when we went over this in the basement one day, I think I had Nebraska optimistically only losing 2 or 3 games. And the how they got into the playoff was the last week of the season when they go to Iowa.
Yeah.
And I think if they beat Iowa there, then they make it in the 12-team playoff.
Well, not only that.
They probably at that point would make it into the Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
Which is a perfect segue into our way too early Week 3 predictions.
Well, hold on.
All right, fuck you.
Hold on. Give me 2 games this week that you were disappointed in.
2 games I was disappointed in. KU. I think KU should have went out and wiped the floor at home, sort of. Maybe that's the problem this year. They don't have a home. They're basically not a road team, but it's an hour drive from Lawrence to Children's Mercy Park, and now it's going to be an hour and a half drive from Lawrence to Independence.
Yeah.
So you're not sleeping in your own bed. You're waking up and you're getting up and you're going to the stadium. But I just think that they played like shit. It was bad coaching all around, bad play calling, bad plays from a team that realistically could have 3 players go in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
If you made me pick who I thought would go in the first round at beginning of the season, I'd say Jalen Daniels, Devin Neal, and I'd probably put Jacoby Bryant. He goes by Kobe.
Those are good solid picks.
I maybe another fringe one would be Mello Dotson, another very solid corner, I think, or safety for KU. There's a lot of talent on that team, and that's what's so frustrating is that they're not playing to what they should be. So I'm disappointed in that, and I hope that they can go to West Virginia next week and win. All the games they played this year have been close, but it's stupid little mistakes that have lost them.
You're number 2.
I was disappointed with Florida State. You play Memphis. Memphis
went into your house.
You're at home. You're Florida State. You lost to Memphis. You're 0-3. Your season's over.
Yeah.
You're not making the ACC championship. You're not making the 12-team playoff. You're probably at the rate you're going, you're not going to make a bowl game. You'll talk about hot seat. I don't remember the head coach for Florida State, but he's on there.
Yeah.
What about you? What are your 2 disappointing teams?
My number 2, Florida State.
Florida State, yeah. See.
That is, it's unconscionable to go undefeated last year, play the transfer portal, get DJ Uiagalelei, or however you say his name.
DJ Uiagalelei.
That's it. And then
I can't say TJ Tuimoloau.
Yeah,
that one.
It's just unconscionable to think that we're week 3, right?
Mike Norvell is the head coach.
Mike Norvell. Yep. We're week 3. But Florida State had a week 0 game
in Dublin, where they lost to Georgia Tech. Now, Georgia Tech was looking really good, but then they lost a pretty bad game
to who?
Boston College, and they're not ranked now. Neither is Boston College.
Right, but do you think Boston College deserves to be ranked?
I'd have them ranked over Georgia Tech.
Fair enough. My number 1. I don't know if it's much as a disappointment as it is the game should have been called differently.
LSU?
No. Or yes, the South Carolina LSU game. The officiating. The officiating was horrible. That pick 6 should have been a pick 6.
Yep. That should have taken
and we
LSU
should be,
out of the game.
Yeah, literally. They had no gas. They had no gas at all. And my gut tells me that South Carolina is still better than 33-36 against LSU. How much better, I don't know. But again, they would have had a win over a top 25 team. Had the refs done their job and called the game correctly.
That might have put them in the top 25 because I think they were 2-0.
Yeah,
going into that game,
mm-hmm.
They might have put them in the top 25.
Yep, they're 2-1. LSU is also 2-1, and their only loss is to USC.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my 2: Florida State and South Carolina.
What about your 2 teams that you thought they did better than you thought they were going to do?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, I agree. I will agree.
Notre Dame. I don't think that those words would be uttered out of my mouth, but Notre Dame. And then my number one, K-State.
Yeah, I know. K-State played their hearts out. Avery Johnson's looking like the real deal down there in Manhattan. I'll piggyback off your two. I'll say Notre Dame after getting embarrassed. I'm gonna say it right there. I'm really high on Northern Illinois, but you don't lose to a MAC school at home and you're Notre Dame. You don't do that.
And then go on the road the next week and score 66 points
against a Big Ten team.
Yeah.
If you had me put a gun to my head right now and who's the Power 5 or non-Power 5 school, the Group of 5 school to make the college football playoff, I got Northern Illinois.
Absolutely.
And
right behind them, Memphis.
Yeah, no, I got like Memphis too. And another game that I was kind of shocked, and I've been waiting for this kind of all season, Colorado. I watched the Colorado State game, and for that first half, they shut down Colorado State. They were losing, yes, but that's what you expect to see. And I know you don't like Coach Prime, and I don't either, but Shedeur went off, Travis Hunter went off, Jimmy Horn Jr., there was a couple other players. They played like they were supposed to, and they haven't been. They got embarrassed by Nebraska. It's a big win for Nebraska.
Considering what Colorado did to them the year before, it's not surprising. But hear me out.
I think the year before they lost to Colorado State.
No, I'm talking about the Nebraska-Colorado game last year. They embarrassed them. And then Nebraska came out this year and embarrassed Colorado.
Yeah, but they're looking a lot better.
They're looking a lot better. They're looking like a Matt Rule coach team. Now I'll give you a little insight on Matt Rule. He goes to Baylor and coaches Baylor. I believe his first season he was 5-8. Then he was 10-2, and then 11-1
with RG3, right?
Yeah. And then there was another team that he coached that he did the exact same thing, except for the numbers were off. He had a winning season, a good winning season, and a great winning season.
And then he went to the NFL.
And now he's
and he kind of shit the bed.
Yeah, and now he's in Nebraska. Is Nebraska going to be an 11-1 team?
They could.
Not probably not this. Well, maybe this year.
Good
with Dylan Raiola, but next year when Dylan Raiola is a sophomore,
they're gonna be scary.
I'm wondering how they're using Dylan Raiola in the recruiting loop for offensive linemen, for receivers, tight ends. Like they're going to be scary. Nebraska, they look like mid-season Bo Pelini coached Nebraska.
Yes, they do.
And that I'm excited. Like I'm an Ohio State fan, but Nebraska, if I was going to root for another team in the Big Ten, Nebraska. They're just so storied in history.
I just don't like Nebraska. I don't like their fans. I'm sorry. They have the worst fans in college football. They're all assholes. I mean, there's a few nice ones, but generally it's Nebraska fans are like Cowboys fans. They're just kind of annoying. And they've even when they were bad, when they were really bad, it was just we're gonna kick the shit out of you. You lost 62-7. We're gonna beat the shit out of you. And I'm like, go in your cornfield and shut up. And I'm like, no offense to anybody from Nebraska. I've been in Nebraska. It's a place.
There's certainly a place.
It's like Iowa. There's just nothing but corn and sadness. It's really the Midwest in a nutshell. Omaha's great. Never been to Lincoln.
I've been to Lincoln many times. Actually, I was by their stadium 3 weeks ago. That is a big place.
I think the thing for holding me up on Nebraska is their one quality win right now is Colorado.
Yeah, but it's
They played Northern.
it's week 3.
They played Northern Iowa, and that was way closer than it should have been. And then they absolutely skull fucked whoever they played week 1. I want to see them. I want to see if they can do this against an Ohio State. I want to see if they can do this against the Big Ten. Because you can start your season off 3-0, and then lose 9 games in a row, and that you're done.
Yeah.
But you also can start your season off 1-2, and then win your next 9 games. Anything is possible.
We're talking to you, Florida State.
Well, to Florida State, it's fucked. They're whatever they do is out. And I mean, I guess technically the season's still too early to tell what's going to happen. They could go 9-3 the rest of the way, win all of their games. They've already lost 1 ACC game though. 2. They lost 2 ACC games. They lost to Boston College and Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
So they're probably not going to make it unless there's just a total collapse at the end of the season. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. But that goes into my next segment.
The one I was trying to go to.
Oh, is the Big Ten in trouble?
I don't think so.
USC has the only marquee win over LSU.
They also are the only team that's played a really ranked. Well, Michigan played a ranked team and
got blown out of the water.
They are who we thought they were.
Purdue plays a ranked Notre Dame.
Purdue's not a powerhouse team. Not in football. Maybe basketball. Wisconsin played Alabama. Again, not really. This isn't the Wisconsin team of 10 years ago. This isn't the Wisconsin team of 5 years ago. It's the same thing with Michigan, Wisconsin, Michigan State. Michigan State is looking pretty good, though. But, over the past 10 years, except for Michigan. Michigan's that weird outlier because they're normally really good. But this year, they're not looking too hot. Again, early in the season. I feel like these teams are lacking the identity that makes them their team. It's like Iowa. Iowa always has a phenomenal defense and no offense. Ohio State always has a high-flying offense and a pretty decent defense. It's not earth-shattering defense, but it's good enough to keep them close so their offense can keep it back up. Michigan's always had a really good running offense and a very solid defense, so that way
they didn't need a quarterback to pass the ball.
They didn't need a quarterback, and they didn't need to panic, so it's just hand the ball off, 20 yards, 15 yards, 5, 6, 7 yards, 20, 35-yard touchdown. That's you scored 7 points. Now your defense can hold them to 14 points in a game, and you score 21, you win. And same thing with Wisconsin used to be like that. It was run the ball down your throat. Look at Wisconsin running backs from a few years ago. There's one in the NFL.
Yeah.
There's a few. But there's one big one, Jonathan Taylor. What did Jonathan Taylor do? Power back. That's Wisconsin. It's like Iowa's tight end university. Wisconsin was running back university.
So I want to go through a couple of these marquee matchups between the Big Ten and the other conferences.
Easier.
So you got Maryland went on the road to Virginia and won 27-13. This is a Big Ten matchup, but this upcoming week, UCLA has to go to LSU.
I don't like that one.
Another one.
Indiana
just went on the road to UCLA and blew them out.
Yeah.
Blew them out. 42-13. At home. They had a at-home loss to Indiana.
But I think if we remember right from the beginning of the season when we were talking about our conference predictions,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure I was really high on Indiana.
You were. Another team that I've been high on all year. Rowing the boat.
Minnesota.
Rowing the boat.
Up here near the Lake Sergey.
And they come out and they lose 19-17 against North Carolina. Another ACC Big Ten matchup. Is the Big Ten in trouble?
I think in the core, no. I think the outlying teams, maybe. And a lot of this, I think, is going back to another problem we've talked about this year, is transfer portal.
Okay.
You have a lot of like these depth pieces that you used to have to where, hey, your running back's tired, and you have a really solid running back, but your backup's not very good. You're giving the rock to your running back, they're your starter. But then they make a mistake, they fumble the ball, the other team gets it, and that's game. You're having all these wide receivers, tight ends, quarterbacks, defensive players that are just like, well, I can't get any time playing at Ohio State. I can't get any time playing at Michigan. I'm going to go to fucking UNLV. Or I'm going to go to mid-Tennessee State. You know, it's not as fancy, but I'm going to fucking play. And I'm going to show these teams that I got this. And I think that's a lot of things that are happening. And it's a good thing for college football, but it's doing what it's doing this year where we're having a lot of really weird scores. A lot of very close games. Like if you want to talk about Big Ten teams in trouble, I'm going to say Penn State.
Out of all the games that have been played out of conference against other Power 4 conferences, Iowa's lost to Iowa State. Northwestern lost to Duke.
Well, Northwestern isn't a really good team, but
it was 26-20. It was 26-20. And then you look at.
And what happened in that game that you said always? If Iowa gives up more than 20 points.
Yeah, I did say that. But I'm looking at all of these losses. Michigan's got the loss to Texas. Minnesota's got the loss to North Carolina. Northwestern's got the loss to Duke. And Washington has the loss to Washington State. I don't. There's only one team. Okay, two with Penn State that have wins out of conference. They have Penn State taking on West Virginia.
Yep, and that was way closer than it should have been.
And then you got USC beating LSU. And
I think a lot.
Wisconsin played Alabama this past weekend, and they got rolled. Purdue loses to Notre Dame. There's one marquee win and two out of conference wins for the Big Ten. I think they're in trouble, especially when it comes to bowl season.
I think it's a little too early to tell. The first few weeks of the season are always when you're getting to know your team.
Hell, even Nebraska's got a fucking win over
Colorado.
Did Michigan State play anybody in?
I don't think so.
No, they played Prairie View, FAU, and Maryland. Illinois played KU. They got an out of conference win there. Oregon hasn't played an out of conference game except for Oregon State this past week. I just think the Big Ten's in trouble, man.
I think we'll be fine.
So let's move on to who do you think after week 3 our conference champs are going to be? Let's start with the Big 12.
Okay, that's where I wanted to start. Big 12, I think at the beginning of the season I said Utah and KU. Where we stand right now, I don't have either of them in the Big 12 championship. Honestly, I got Iowa State or not Iowa State, my bad. Oklahoma State, even though they look kind of shaky. And K-State. I got K-State winning that one. I still think I'm holding out hope that KU can somehow figure it out. the rest of the season. Got a lot of conference games you can still win. You can go 9-0 in conference, and that generally puts you in the conference championship.
And if you win it,
you go to the playoff.
You go to the playoff, you get a 4 seed.
So I think as of right now, I'm not as high on KU as I was at the beginning of the season, and it hurts because I was so high on them the whole off season, the end of last year, and I was like, this is it. They finally have a football team. It's not just going to be, you're just a basketball school. Shut up.
Yeah. Mine is also K-State.
K-State's a solid pick.
And I don't think Oklahoma State. I think Arizona can come back for a revenge game against K-State.
I could see it.
Let's move on to the SEC.
SEC, I'm going to have Texas, and I think Georgia. Texas and Georgia.
You think that Georgia can go through October and November unscathed?
I think so.
They're off this week. They have Alabama the week after. And then I think they have Auburn, Mississippi State, Texas. I see maybe, and then Ole Miss. Ole Miss is coming up. They could potentially lose back-to-back games. You know, I'm going to go with a dark horse here and pick Kentucky.
I can see it. Sorry, I was texting somebody. I can see Kentucky. It'd be a lot harder for them because they did lose to Georgia. So you have a conference loss.
By 1? 13-12?
A loss is still a loss.
Yeah. But if they meet Georgia in the championship game again? Say Kentucky runs the table.
They can do it.
And then meets Georgia in the championship game again. I think that calls for maybe an upset. And it's going to be just like Alabama did to Georgia last year, where they knocked them out of the playoff. But I don't think it's going to happen this year because we're at a 12-team playoff. If Georgia loses, they're probably going to be 9 or 10.
I think whatever happens the rest of this season, I think the SEC,
they're just going to beat up each other.
The winner and the runner-up will probably make the 12-team playoff.
I honestly think that about the Big Ten too. So let's move on to the ACC. Through week 3, who's your conference champ?
In the championship, as of right now where we stand, I got Clemson and Syracuse. No, my bad. Not Clemson. Miami and Syracuse. Syracuse has looked pretty fucking potent this year.
Okay. So, real fast, we're going to take a look at those two teams' schedules. So you said Clemson and Syracuse.
I meant Miami.
Or Miami, my bad. Miami and Syracuse. All right, so Syracuse Orange and Miami Hurricanes. So we'll start with Syracuse first. They got Stanford at home and then Holy Cross. Then at UNLV. At NC State. At Pitt.
Okay.
Virginia Tech at home.
I can see that being 5-1.
At Boston College.
5-2.
At Cal.
6-2.
UConn at home.
7-2.
At Miami. You know who they don't play this year? Clemson. So you think they lose 2 games?
Oh yeah,
Let's go to Miami.
Miami's probably going undefeated.
At South Florida.
They won.
Virginia Tech at home.
They win that one.
At Cal.
Win that one.
At Louisville.
That one's gonna be close, but I think they win.
Florida State at home.
That's a huge win.
Duke at home.
Win.
At Georgia Tech.
They'd be close, but I think they win.
Wake Forest at home.
That's a huge win.
And at Syracuse.
I think they win that one, but I think it's going to be an offensive shootout.
Okay. Do you think that there's a chance that Syracuse and Miami play for the conference title?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. For me, Boston College.
You've been very high on Boston College. And I
Rightly so.
And Boston College is my third team. They're right there.
I think
which is a huge far cry from what we picked at the beginning of the preseason.
Yeah, for sure.
What I have, I said
Clemson
and Florida State.
Yep. Those were your preseason
But I think you
conference
had
champs.
I think you had something very similar.
I had Boston College and Clemson.
Well, at least one of those is still.
Yeah. I don't think Clemson.
No.
Dave McSweeney might be fired at the end of the year, folks.
You never know.
All right, and then the Big Ten.
Ohio State, obviously. I think Ohio State. And I'm going to say Nebraska.
I say Nebraska.
Ohio State, Nebraska.
Even though Indiana scored 77?
Yeah, no.
Even though Illinois is doing really good and ranked?
Yeah.
All right.
At the beginning of the season, I think I said Ohio State, Oregon. But Oregon hasn't shown me. They haven't lost.
They have not lost, but they haven't showed me any. They haven't showed me the things that they need to show me to be in the conversation yet. A win over Oregon State by, was it 30, 37?
Something like that.
36 points, yeah. But for me, Ohio State and Nebraska as well.
I think at the beginning of this season, I was a lot bigger on Oregon, but until week 3, Oregon did not look like Oregon.
Yeah.
They played a tough game against Boise State. I give Boise State, a little bit of credit because
Ashton Gentry is the top of the Heisman watch list, by the way.
Exactly. And they got a bunch of dogs on that team.
Yeah.
But when you barely beat Idaho,
yeah, it was a 10-point ball game. It was like,
I think it was closer than that. It was like 20. No, it was like 27-14, something like that.
I think it was 27-14, maybe.
But it should not have been that close. You were like 48-point favorites.
Yeah.
People at Idaho didn't even think they were going to be that close to fucking Oregon.
Fair enough. And then let's talk about something that you called me about after one of the games.
So,
I heard
from what I saw on national televised news, I have a picture of it. I don't know if it'll pull up as much as I want it to because we don't have any graphics or anything.
Working on that.
It says new additions to the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is not trying. They said they're to add 4 Mountain West schools. Of these schools, Boise State, San Diego State, Fresno State, and Colorado State to move to the Pac-12 in 2026. So that means they got to play this year and next year, and then they're there. That means that the Pac-12 would need 2 more programs to meet NCAA requirements to have a conference. It says Pac-12 and 4 schools expected to pay the Mountain West more than $110 million for exit.
Yeah, it says right here that part of the deal includes millions of dollars in additions of fees for the Pac-12 if it poaches Mountain West schools. All told, the Mountain West Conference could reap $110 million because of all of this conference realignment. But you look at it,
It makes sense.
it does. These schools have proven over the years that they can play football, they can play basketball, they can play baseball. So what I want to ask you is, who do you think joins the Mountain West or joins
Pac-12?
the Pac-12?
So they said they need 2 teams to make NCAA requirements. I think they're probably going to go for more like 4. And you can't just poach the Mountain West, but they can kind of sort of do it.
Yeah.
I think this does a big thing for Division I football. I think you may be able to see teams like North Dakota State and South Dakota State join, the FCS instead of the FBS or whatever. You know what I meant? Is it FCS?
Yeah, the football championship series.
That's what Ohio State and KU and shit are in.
No, we're in FBS.
Okay, so they go from the FCS to the FBS. So I think there's going to be some teams that start flowing up through the cracks. I wouldn't be shocked if Idaho came back, because I think they left the FBS a few years ago, and now FCS school. But if you had if I just stuck to 2, I think it'd be funny because they picked a bunch of state schools.
How about Texas State?
No, that doesn't make any sense.
out of the Sun Belt?
They could, but I think realistically, like
UNLV.
I was gonna say UNLV and Utah State, but those are
Utah State makes perfect sense.
But those are Mountain West schools. So now you're poaching the Mountain West. You've taken 6 schools out of the Mountain West.
Yeah.
And they could totally do it. Or they could just absolve the Mountain West, the whole conference.
And pull them all into the Pac-12.
Pull them all in the Pac-12. It makes sense. You got Colorado State.
I think the Mountain West presidents and board of directors will have something to say about that.
Well, you've taken arguably like 2 or 3 of the best in there. I could also see maybe potentially getting a team back from. Well, you probably won't get Cal or Stanford back.
No, I think they're rock solid deals with the ACC.
You could get Florida State and Clemson. They went out of the ACC so bad.
What about Hawaii?
Hawaii makes sense. Another Mountain West school, though.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying it's like you could have anybody could go. Fuck, KU could go.
North Texas. I like that.
North Texas could go. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense logistically.
Why?
Because they're in Texas and all these other teams are on the East Coast.
Yeah, but...
Or West Coast, my bad.
No. Boise State's not on the West Coast.
They're in Idaho, which is next to Washington.
Yeah, but I think coast, California, Oregon, and Washington. That's the coast.
Idaho's close enough that I count it.
Okay. Utah was in the Pac-12.
Yeah, they're close enough that I count it. I guess if you really want,
Colorado was in the Pac-12.
That one didn't make any fucking sense, and you know it. That is
Arizona State.
It's down that line. It's down the coast. You're taking I-5 the whole way, buddy.
No, I-10.
Is it 10?
I-10 goes to California. I-5 goes north and south.
I-5
Odd numbers go north and south. Even numbers goes even east.
No, I-5 is from Seattle all the way down.
Yeah, but Arizona's on I-10, and it's like 400 miles from California.
They touch states, they're bordering accounts.
Fair.
No, I think if anything, maybe Nevada, University of Nevada in Reno, would make a lot of sense with UNLV being right there. That's a rivalry.
Yeah.
You take, San Diego State, maybe San Jose State.
San Jose State. I like that. They're already added Fresno.
Fresno State's on the up.
Yeah.
They're getting better. They didn't look good last week, but shit happens.
I have a feeling.
Well, you could see UTEP or University of Texas San Antonio. You could any team you can think of is on the table. It's not going to be a matter of when. It's going to be a matter of how many and who.
So, do you think that they go more to the East Coast too to pull out schools?
They could. Maybe they rename.
If they win the lawsuit against the ACC, the Clemson and Florida State,
they could go for them.
If that, and they say no, you don't have to pay $500 million to leave. I could see Miami, Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, and North Carolina State wanting out.
But do you want to go to a conference where, no offense to the new Pac-12 that they got, there's a bunch of cupcakes? You've basically just made another group of 5 conference with the old. You're hanging on the laurels of the old Pac-12.
Okay.
So you don't have teams like Stanford, Cal, USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, Utah, Arizona State. You don't have those powerhouses in there anymore. So are you just making another group of 5?
Can I ask you a question?
Right now, if you took all the teams in this proposed team, like these teams in this conference, the big ones I'm on are Boise State.
Big ones I'm on are Boise State, Fresno State.
I do think it's really funny now that I thought about it that every single school in that conference is a state.
Yeah.
Right now, because the current Pac-12, Pac-2,
Oregon State and Washington State.
Oregon State, Washington State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Boise State, and Colorado State. Yeah. They're all state schools. Not a single one of them is the capital of their state. Which is a thing we were talking about yesterday, and I went on a rant.
Fort Collins.
It's like some of these state schools don't make a lot of sense, and this is Jacob's rant for 5 minutes. Give me a break. You have like Oklahoma State, which Stillwater is not very close to Tulsa. I found that out. It's not very close. You said it was right there. It's not. It's like 4 hours away.
It is.
They have connections to Oklahoma State in Tulsa, like some of their community colleges. But it used to be Oklahoma A&M. K-State used to be Kansas A&M. Washington State's in Wazoo, which is a fun fucking name to say. I would live there if it wasn't for Washington. Not the capital. That's Olympia. I think the team that's closest to the capital is Gonzaga. I'm pretty sure they're in Spokane, which is pretty freaking close to Olympia. No?
Spokane is basically at the foot of Mount St. Helens.
So it's way northern?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's closer to Seattle than I thought. I don't know geography, but I know this. Manhattan is not the capital of Kansas.
No, that's like 3 hours south of the capital.
It's like 3 hours west, but yeah. There's only a few schools that make a lot of sense. You have Michigan State, Lansing, capital Michigan. Don't know if there's a Minnesota State. Don't really care. But Minnesota's in their capital. Ohio State's in the capital. Georgia, that's not a state.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Georgia State, though, is in Georgia. Or not Georgia, in Atlanta. Florida State, Tallahassee. I don't think there's an Alabama State. I don't think there's a Tennessee State. There's a Middle Tennessee State, but that's not the same. You don't have a Kentucky State. Indiana State is the Sycamores, and I think that they might actually be in Indianapolis, but they're only basketball. You got Colorado State, which is in Fort Collins. Their capital is Denver.
Yeah, Fort Collins is about an hour and a half north of
Yep.
Denver.
You got I don't think there's Sacramento State, but again, that's another not big school. Arizona State is in. They're not in Phoenix, are they?
No, Arizona State's in Tempe.
That's the capital of.
Phoenix is the capital of Arizona. Or no, that's Flagstaff. Is it? I don't know. I'm stupid.
Yeah, they're in Tempe, but now I need to Google where the fuck the capital of Arizona is.
I think it's Flagstaff. This is something weird.
Phoenix.
Is it Phoenix?
It's Phoenix.
I'm just stupid.
Which I think is where Arizona is.
No,
No?
isn't Arizona in Glendale?
Are they?
I'm pretty sure Arizona's in Glendale.
They're in Tucson.
Tucson, that's it. Okay. Yeah, Tucson.
But that's a whole rant for another day. I'm not gonna stress myself out.
All right.
But conference realignment's a good thing for some schools. Maybe you get some of these Big 12 schools that are underperforming out of the Big 12.
Yeah.
Or you make a super conference like the commissioner of the Big 12 is trying to do. But I'm going to use the restroom real quick. Dan, cut him in the next segment.
All right. So the next segment is going to be our picks of the week for the 21st of September. We have we got a lot to talk about. Just like the shakeup of the top 25. This is going to be another doozy week. I'm looking at games right now for week 3 or week 4. So we got Stanford at Syracuse, Illinois at Nebraska, NC State at Clemson, Florida at Mississippi State, and Florida's already doing bad. And then we got Houston at Cincinnati, which I think is a pretty good game. Kansas goes to West Virginia. Virginia is playing another cupcake team this week. We got a lot of games to go over this week. Conference play starts this week for a lot of conferences.
Let's just jump right in. We're going to do top 25, I think.
Yep, we'll do top 25.
So, starting off, we had a Friday game. We got a top 25 matchup. Illinois goes to Nebraska. Nebraska's a 9-point favorite. Number 24 versus number 22. Give me Nebraska in that one.
So you're taking Nebraska?
Yeah.
All right.
Don't have to be in particular order. That was just
I'm
the
gonna
first
take
one.
I'm gonna take Nebraska too.
Okay, so that's 2 check marks for Nebraska. If we're wrong, we'll eat dirt next week or whatever Dan says.
All right, next one.
Kicking off, this is an 11 a.m. game, CST. We got Marshall, the Thundering Herd, going into number 3, Ohio State. That is a 39.5-point spread.
Ohio State.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna say Ohio State 58, Marshall 0.
I'm gonna have Marshall score some garbage time points, but I'm gonna say 53 to 10. It's gonna be garbage points though, all in the fourth quarter.
I don't think Ohio State's defense is gonna allow
Ohio State's defense will score more points than Marshall's offense.
But I don't think Ohio State's defense is gonna allow them to score any points.
We'll see.
I think this is a statement year with everybody coming back. This is we belong in the elite conversation of defenses, and in my opinion, they already have the most elite defense. 2 games, 6 points for them, 108 points for Ohio State, 58-0.
Okay. Next one up, we got another 11 a.m. game. We got North Carolina State, which was formerly ranked, going to number 21 Clemson. It is a 17-point spread.
I'm going to go with NC State.
Making sure this. Okay, that is in Clemson. I was just making sure it wasn't a weird neutral site game. Give me. I'm going to defer here. I'm going to pick Clemson. I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's 17 points. I don't think they're going to cover the spread, but I think they win. I'd say like 35-28. Just sounds good to me. But you got NC State.
I got NC State.
Next up, we got a 1 p.m. games. These are all Central Standard Time, by the way. This is what my phone's set to. That's where I'm from. Arkansas State goes to Ames, Iowa, and plays the Cyclones. It's a 21-point spread.
I got Iowa State.
I got Iowa State too, but I don't think they cover that spread. Not unless Arkansas State's that good or Michigan's was that bad.
Okay.
But we'll see. So we're both on Iowa State. We deferred on NC State and Clemson. Next up, we got a 2:30 game. We got Georgia Tech going to Louisville. It's a 10.5-point spread.
I got Georgia Tech.
I got Georgia Tech too. I think they got a lot to prove after losing that game and get unranked.
Sorry, I am currently making sure that all of our picks are recorded so that we can go back.
Oh, all these? We can actually remember what we picked?
Yeah.
Let me know whenever you're ready for me to go to the next one.
So that was the which game was it?
Georgia Tech, Louisville.
All right, next.
We got Miami of Ohio going to South Bend, Indiana. It's a 27-point spread. Miami of Ohio is generally regarded as one of the better MAC schools.
Do you think a MAC school could upset Notre Dame again?
I was going to say, if you think a MAC school could upset Notre Dame, yeah, I know it already happened.
No, again.
I think they're going to be on their minding their P's and their Q's here. Anything could happen. Give me Notre Dame, but I don't think they cover that 27-point spread.
Okay. So you're taking Notre Dame?
Yep. And you don't have to record the spread thing. That could just be a thing. If they win, they win.
Yeah.
I'm just saying spread so people know.
Next.
Did you pick one for that?
Notre Dame.
Oh. Next is a 2:30 game on the Big Ten Network. We got Kent State. Is it Kent State or Kent? Just Kent State?
Yeah, Kent State.
Going to number 10. Penn State. It's a 48.5-point spread.
Penn State.
I got Penn State too, but I don't think they cover that spread. The next one is a 2:30 game on ABC. We got UCLA going to the Bayou. About said Swamp. That's Florida. The Bayou. They're playing the Bayou Bengals, LSU. 22.5-point spread.
I wasn't big on USC.
UCLA.
No, I wasn't big on USC. And then they go in there and they beat LSU.
In a neutral site.
At a neutral site. I think UCLA has it in them to make it a fight.
I think it'll be a lot closer than that point spread says.
I know that they just got embarrassed by Indiana.
Their head coach isn't going to know who he's talking about, though.
Yeah. He's
won 127 championships.
You know what? Give me LSU.
Yeah, I got LSU in that one, too.
Yeah, like, I can't pick that consciously.
We have a couple big top 25 matchups this week. This next one is not one of those.
Okay.
At 2:30, we got Buffalo going to Northern Illinois. Number 23 ranked Northern Illinois is a 14-point spread with a 45 points margin or whatever that's called. Total score, I think.
Give me Northern
I
Illinois.
got Northern Illinois as well.
Yeah. Northern Illinois, like, for sure.
Next one, we have a pretty big game. This is going to be one of the first tests for this team and a second test for this other team. Well, these are both second tests for both these teams, but this is going to be one first real test for one of these new schools coming in to the Big Ten. We have at 2:30, USC going to Ann Arbor, Michigan.
USC.
Yeah, I got USC too. USC is actually favored by 5.5. So we'll see. Next one, we have a 3 p.m. game. Utah is going to Stillwater, Oklahoma. It's a 3-point spread that is favored as Oklahoma State.
Give me Oklahoma State.
I got Utah. Oklahoma State's kind of struggled this year.
Give me Oklahoma State.
Okay, so I got Utah, you got Oklahoma State. This is where we diverge.
Utah. Give me OK State. All right, next.
Next, we got a team that I think should be ranked, but they're not. Going against number 7 overall school. 3:15, we got Vanderbilt going to shithole Missouri. Because I couldn't remember what Columbia was called.
Didn't Vanderbilt have the week off this week?
Vanderbilt lost to Georgia State.
I think that was a look-ahead game.
36-32. It was close.
I think that was a look-ahead game. Give me Vanderbilt on an upset in Columbia.
You know what? I think this is our upset of pick of the week.
Yeah.
I got Vanderbilt. It's 21-point spread, I think. If you look at Mizzou's schedule, they have... I think it's a bye week, but then the next game they have is Texas A&M.
Yeah.
So they might be looking forward to Texas A&M and not really paying attention to Vanderbilt. But I think Vanderbilt's a lot better than we think they are. Next one we have, which this spread seems kind of low personally, with the total points is 65. The point spread is 17.5. We got number 8 Miami going to South Florida.
You know what? The way South Florida held Alabama, and those last 28 points in the fourth quarter, those were fluke points. Give me USF.
Yeah, USF. I got Miami on this one.
Give me USF to upset the Canes.
And we got 5 games left. Next one is probably going to be the game of the week. It's 6:30 on ABC. You have number 6 Tennessee going to number 15 Oklahoma. It is a 7.5-point spread favored of Tennessee.
Give me Tennessee.
I got Tennessee as well. I think Oklahoma, this is going to be their first real punch in the mouth.
Yeah.
Because we're not real big on Oklahoma. Anything could happen.
Any given Saturday.
Any given Saturday. Next up, we got Bowling Green goes to College Station to play number 25 Texas A&M. It is a 23-point spread. It is also apparently supposed to be 102 degrees.
Give me Texas A&M.
I agree, Texas A&M. God, this next one's gonna be bad. We got a 6:45 kickoff time. Georgia Southern travels to wherever the fuck Ole Miss is. Because I don't know where Ole Miss is. I don't know what city that is.
Isn't that in Jackson, Mississippi?
Is it?
I think it is.
It makes sense.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not from Mississippi.
I'm not either.
Okay.
So, 35.5-point spread. Obviously, I'm pretty sure we're both going Ole Miss here.
Yeah, Ole Miss by a lot.
I think Jackson Dart goes off and is out by the second half. Speaking of teams that are going to be out by the second half, are you still writing this down?
I'm going right there with.
Okay. We got ULM, University of Louisiana Monroe, going to number 1 Texas.
Is Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning starting because the outcome's going to be the same?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't
It's
matter.
Texas.
Yeah. Texas by 60.
So 45-point spread.
Yeah, Texas by 60.
Maybe not that much, but I think they blow the doors off of them. And then our final game is a 9:30 game, somehow CST. K-State goes to Provo, Utah.
Provo, Utah?
BYU.
Oh, yeah, no, that's okay. Yeah, that's BYU, Provo.
Is that where that is?
Yeah, yep.
7-point spread.
Give me BYU.
You got BYU?
Give me BYU.
As much as I hate them, I pick K-State.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, no, K-State. K-State.
And then,
I thought it was somebody else.
And then let's pick another couple games of teams that we might have a look on.
How about we do?
I'll pick.
Hold on. How about we do Houston and Cincinnati?
Houston, Cincinnati. I
5.5 points.
got 5 on CBS.
Okay.
I don't like either really. I think it's gonna be like a slap box thing. It's just gonna be kind of sad. Give me Cincinnati, I guess.
Cincinnati.
One that I'm kind of looking forward to looking at, because this is one of the first real tests for this team. Syracuse host Stanford on a Friday at 6:30 p.m.
Give me the Qs.
They got the Qs as well. I really want to do one, but I'm not gonna pick because every time I pick them, they lose.
KU.
Yeah. Let me see.
How about you do a weird game? How about Florida at Mississippi State? 4.5. Who do you got?
Whatever the last one was.
Mississippi State?
Here's an ACC game we're gonna cover that I want to talk about because I'm surprised they're favored. 6 p.m. game on ESPN2. It is Cal going to Florida State. It's a 2.5-point spread.
Cal.
Honestly, I think Cal. And let's pick one. I'll pick the worst possible school I think I can.
Hold on. Let's go with the closest spread that we have on here.
I got a 1-point spread.
FAU and UConn.
Baylor, Colorado.
Ooh.
Baylor at Colorado. It's a 1-point spread.
I just threw up in my mouth a little.
Should drink your beer.
Yeah.
Wash that down.
Wash that down.
You gotta validate your parking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and then I got one.
You're gonna make me pick Colorado. This is bullshit.
And then I got one more. I'm gonna grab another beer real quick.
Hold on. Who'd you have on that Colorado Baylor game?
Colorado, give me the Buffs.
If I pick Colorado and they lose, I'll never pick Colorado to win
I'm
again.
gonna hold you to that. And then the last one, we have a Big Ten ACC matchup. We got Michigan State going to wherever the fuck Boston College is. Probably in Boston. That would make
I'm
sense.
gonna assume it's in Boston.
That would make they could fuck up some smack kids. That spread is a total of 46 points, and Boston College has a 4.5-point favorability.
Considering they just held the
Number 7.
was number 7.
Yep.
Number 6, number 7 team to 27 points. I am going Boston College.
I agree with Boston College. I got one more. I know I said that was my last one, but I just saw this one and I'm pretty sure this is a rivalry game.
Yeah.
Can you tell which one I'm looking at?
No.
Iowa. The point spread, by the way, for this game is a total of 36 points. total of 36 points.
Okay.
Iowa goes to Minnesota.
I'm rowing the boat.
Rowing the boat as well. Iowa is a 2.5-point spread favorite, but we'll see how that goes. And what is the craziest what is the highest spread for a non-ranked team going into this week? Because we can do that one as well.
Non-ranked team?
Non-ranked team, highest spread.
Ooh.
So far, I'm seeing. Oh, I found 18 points. 28 points. I don't think I'm going to get better than that.
Indiana and Charlotte?
Yep. You think Indiana drops another 50, 60 burger on them?
No. Non-ranked, huh?
Neither of these teams are ranked.
Yeah, that's the... I don't know, man.
I think that's about it for me.
What do you got?
I got Indiana.
Indiana. I think I got Indiana, too.
Is this where we're going to wrap it up? Okay. So, as is tradition, I would like to thank you guys all for tuning in, watching the podcast. This has been kind of a interesting one for week 3. There was a lot of news that came out, a lot of speculations with things and such.
Conference realignment.
Conference realignment.
Pac-12.
You know, we got the ACC possibly losing some members. They could be gaining some members. You never know. They could absolve a conference, and just everybody goes to wherever. But regardless, I'd like to thank you guys all for watching. If you do like this, please leave a like. If you aren't already subscribed, please do consider subscribing. It means a lot. We're trying to hit, I'd say, 100 by the end of October. If we can do that, maybe the end of the year.
I like to hit 1,000 so we can go live on YouTube.
If we can do 1,000, we go live on YouTube. We will do live podcasts where you guys can ask us questions.
And you can be part of the giveaways.
You can be part of the giveaways, which no one's actually joined the Discord yet. If you would like to join the Discord, we will, once we start getting some members in there, because I don't want to have one person in there and you go, what's your picks of the week? Here, you get a gift card. It's just not fair at that point.
KJ wins every week.
KJ wins every week. But there's a link in the description or the pinned comment or whatever we do for this. Dan sets us all up.
Yep, there is a link in the
Description?
in the channel.
The channel.
So when you click on the channel, it'll have our Discord link. So just click on that, join the Discord, and put your favorite team.
Yeah. What's your favorite team?
Yeah, what's your favorite team?
We'll talk about. Well, if anybody would like us to leave a comment, tell us the team you'd like to talk about. We'll talk about them. We'll give you our honest opinion about what we think their chances are in this 2024 college football season. But again, I'd like to thank you guys all so much for watching. We truly do appreciate all of the support you guys have been giving us. This is so much fun doing this. Getting it.
Yeah.
It is nice to finally fix the mics. Hopefully this week. We'll find out here in a minute. But with that being said, thank you guys again for watching. I'm Jacob.
I'm Dan.
And let's exit this huddle. Break.